viewers, I was informed by the powers that be that I'm no longer allowed to yell. See, I can't even say it. I have to address you guys as my people.
You're doing good.
This just feels awkward. Squad!
So, in today's video, we've got some helpful advice for new players. Or maybe you have a friend who's a new player and you're trying to find a deck they
what
should
are they
use.
gonna play?
Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of a complicated game, but we devised a list of...
our top 10 best beginner decks.
Yeah, all kind of for 2017, stuff that's fairly new, you know. Will help you get a good grasp of the game. It's simple to pick up, but most of them kind of also have some depth and all that stuff.
We tried to, when we picked these decks, each one has a reason. A deck could be here because it'll win easily. A deck could be here because it'll teach you a mechanic. Or we'll get into it.
So, we've each got 5 actually. This will be a lot of fun. And they're decks that we've both kind of each played. Let's start out with the ABCs, because it's like you're learning the ABCs of Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's elementary.
ABCs are a very simple deck to play. All you really have to do... I like I liked that. When they play that. They play that on the radio, they play that on TV. I need to get back to the video. ABCs are a really simple deck to play. You're using Union Hanger, it searches ABC monsters. And then when you summon an ABC monster, it's able to equip itself with light Union monster from your deck. It's a really simple process, and your goal is to make ABC Dragon Buster. It's their boss monster. It's really easy to make. It doesn't require having polymerization. You just banish your monsters.
Contact fusion.
It's like a contact fusion. It summons itself, and then it can actually discard a card from your hand to banish one of your opponent's cards. This makes it really good chainable spot removal. It's a very disruptive card. And you can add in a lot of different other things to your ABC deck. You can run, Styra Dragons or Photon Thrasher. That's the one. You can make, rank 4 Xyz really easily. You can add in artifacts, different stuff like that. I like this deck because it's super easy to pick up. It kind of reminds me of like a new school gadget-esque strategy where it's simple, kind of plussy plays, nothing too complex, but it does have a boss monster, and I really like that. It's also not hard to get a hold of. The structure deck. The Kaiba structure deck gives you the core of the deck, and then you only have to add a few more cards. So, really not bad. I definitely recommend it to a new player. Easy to pick up and play.
Let's jump into number 2. That is Cosmos. Why? Cosmos have a relatively straightforward playing style. You have your pilots and your ships, and you're switching them out to do damage. I think what's kind of cool about Cosmos are that their monsters actually don't have like really long effects.
Yeah, that's actually a good. I never thought about that one. Yeah, that's true.
It's relatively straightforward. So like if you're still kind of new to the idea of even doing combos, it's nice that each card does one thing, sometimes 2 things, and you can make plays based off of that, and it's aesthetically pleasing with it being Star Wars.
Yeah. So basically, how do the pilots work, and how do the ships work? The pilots basically can
the pilots are kind of have really like niche effects. Like Farm Girl, when she after she does battle damage, she can search.
Yeah, Tin Can and...
Tin Can is all about consistency.
Yeah, it lets you search like a card to your hand. And they all share the effect of...
They can switch out with a ship in your hand. So they...
He's dying. They banish themselves from the... I got you. They banish themselves from the field. And, then you're able to summon one of your big ships from the hand. So the big ships tend to have protective effects. Things like Dark Destroyer come to mind. It can't be targeted. Forerunner, same sort of general gist.
Let's not forget that Dark Destroyer is at 1, so...
Yeah, so what's really good about this deck that makes it so simple is, like you said, these monsters pretty much each have one job. And then when your ships die, they're actually able to summon other Cosmo monsters from your deck, so they float.
Yeah, you can keep some advantage, and it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, and if it's not, you've always got Cosmo Town, which can just shuffle any Cosmos you don't need back into your deck, and then you get to redraw cards, so... Really quite good, and even recycles your banished ones.
And as far as accessibility, the deck's relatively cheap. It came out, is that a whole format ago or 2 formats ago?
Several years, a couple years ago. They've been reprinted gold. It's not a hard deck to get your
2.5 formats ago?
It depends on what we're considering a format, but yeah, I get you. All right, the next deck is one of mine, Satellar Knights. This is a deck that I actually, I didn't like it at first, but then I played it and I was like, you know, this is actually pretty fun. The way that Satellite work is basically they're just light warrior monsters that each have very straightforward effects. So
Constellar plus.
Yeah. So Satellite Deneb, it's a Stratos. It searches your Satellite to your hand. Satellite Altair is like a debris dragon type thing. It summons them from the grave. Satellite Vega summons another one from your hand. An ideal play would be maybe something along the lines of you summon Vega, which summons Altair from your hand. Altair summons Deneb from your grave. Deneb searches another Satellite. And now you got 3 of them. You can overlay them into their infamous boss monster, Satellite Triver, which bounces everything on the field back to the hand, and then you can detach, take a card out of your opponent's hand. There's also Satellite Deltros, which is another really strong boss monster that can pop cards, stops your opponent from responding to your summons, and both of them, when they die, also float. And then they have some useful spells and traps, namely Satellite Sky Bridge that can switch one out with another one from the deck, and then you've got Stonova Alpha, which is their counter trap that can basically negate summons and effects and stuff like that. It's a really straightforward deck to play. It's pretty consistent. It has access to a lot of different Xyz monsters, so there's really nothing too special here. It's just a fun deck to use, and it's really easy for a beginner.
Yeah, fun. Oh, maybe fun.
Not so fun for them to play
against. But
what about you? What's your next one?
My next deck is Senjus. That's actually the deck I took to my first regional. But so Senjus, very simple and straightforward strategy. They use multiple normal summons, no special summons, to as quickly as possible get your Senjus, the commas 1, 2, and 3 on the field, and it's kind of a beatdown strategy. Comma 1 will bounce. Comma 2 will.
One of them can attack directly.
Yeah, he just kind of swings directly. And comma 3 searches.
Yeah, and at the end of the turn, they all return to your hand.
Yep, but that's not so bad because they have their trap. Their trap.
Yeah.
Their secret technique or secret move.
You send your secret move. They've got a trap, which is a counter trap. It can basically negate anything. This also returning the hand factor lets them use a lot of cards like Card of Demise effectively because you can resolve your Card of Demise first, where you'd have to discard, you know?
And then you can add them to your hand.
And then you can have them all bounce back to your hand.
Chain link knowledge, people.
They use lots of sort of different trap cards, floodgates, things like that.
You can use battle traps like Floodgate and
Quaking Mirror Force comes to mind. Drowning Mirror Force especially because you won't have monsters.
2 cats just ran into our yard. And not up, they left. Oh, they're gone. Alright.
Yeah, so Senju, it's a very simple deck. It's a very good anti-meta deck. All the really.
I guess then you can have fun with it. They have their little pendulum theme. What is it? Maya Senju Dieback. Pretty cool boss monster.
If you want to do some crazy things, it's there too.
He exists, so we'll have some fun.
My next one is Mermails, one that I'll always refer new players to. Mermails is a really fun deck. If you like, a lot of the stuff we've recommended so far has been fairly slow, kind of turn-by-turn stuff. Mermails, on the other hand, are quite explosive. You have your Mermail monsters themselves, and you've got the Atlantean monsters, and the Mermails tend to summon themselves from the hand by discarding water monsters. Conveniently, the Atlanteans are water monsters that trigger when they've been discarded for the effect of a water monster. So by using these together, you can summon lots of Mermails, use the Atlanteans to search and pop lots of cards. There's a lot of crazy combos. It's a very explosive, aggressive deck. If you're into that sort of thing, it's really the deck for you. It can even make Bahamut Shark and totally awesome. It can use Miss Starboy really effectively. It can actually make some synchros here and there too. So yep.
The only reason I ever needed was Big Eye.
Yeah, I always like it. Can make those really strong rank 7s, Big Eye, Dracosac, stuff like that.
So my next deck is Oddeyes. Because everything in there has been reprinted so gosh darn cheap now.
Some people call me Oddeyes.
That's awful. But yeah, so Oddeyes, if you've been keeping up with the pendulum aspect of the game, you know about Oddeyes, Pendulum Dragon. And I'm not really sure how to describe this archetype. It's kind of it's centered around your Oddeyes, Pendulum Dragon, and you just do pendulum things.
There's a lot of fusions it can make.
Yeah, you can use all of the summoning types.
A lot of search effects.
You can do fusion.
You can do Xyz, synchro, all that stuff.
All of them. You can play it in a multitude of ways. You can combine it with magicians. You can combine it with performer pals, and they have access to the most searchable card in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. which is Performer Pal Oddeyes Synchron.
Oh yeah, it's actually a super searchable card.
Yeah, it's just
So yeah, this deck is fun. I think it's a good way to learn Pendulum, especially if you're not into like Pendulum Magicians as much, because that's kind of meta.
the new Pendulum Magicians might be a bit difficult for a beginner to learn, but older Pendulum Magicians or Performer Pals or Oddeyes, all of them are kind of under the same umbrella here. They can teach you the pendulum mechanic, and it'll give you kind of a good start in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Now the next one's actually a strange one that you might not expect, but it's actually Dinosaurs. A deck that did recently get hit on the ban list, but I think it's still quite playable.
We're not talking about those dinos. We're talking about the twin-headed King Rex dinos.
Yeah.
That's all you run. You run 20 copies.
Rex Raptor dinos, yeah. But Soul Eating Oviraptor and Fossil Dig are both still around. You can still use cards like Lost World. You can still use cards like Baby Ceratosaurus, and you still have Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This deck is super simple. You can get the structure deck and play it very easily. It still functions really quite well. It's solid. You're summoning dinosaur monsters, you're triggering the small dinosaurs effect with Oviraptor and things like that, and then you have a really annoying boss monster that you can bring out when your opponent kind of gets you in the corner.
Annoying?
So yeah, he's huge. 3,500 attack, you can like Book of Moon everything. It's a very troublesome card to deal with.
Terrible time. So my next deck is Light Sworns. Some older players might be familiar with it, and for good reason. Light Sworns are powerful for a long time. So why should a beginner pick up Light Sworn? Because it is simple.
You read what's on the card and you kind of do it. You know?
As long as you read all the cards. I mean, Light Sworn practically plays itself.
Yeah, they all mill at the end of the turn. That is, sending cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard.
And certain ones will get effects when they're sent to grave, so you can just special summon them.
Yeah, things along those lines.
They'll give you a good access to the idea of kind of doing like synchro summons.
Yeah, they can do all this. They can do a lot of summoning.
Because I know, at least for me, when I started Light Sworn, that was what I used it for, was making like big synchro monsters. But nowadays, you can use them to make Link monsters, like Z's monsters.
They got Minerva, they got Michael, things like that.
Like
Judgment Dragon, of course, the infamous.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those really low skill ceiling but really high reward kind of decks.
Yeah, it's really simple, and they've got like good draw cards, Solar Recharge, good search cards, Charge the Light Brigade,
which recently came to
3. It was at 2 and it went to 3.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he calls himself a Light Sworn player, but the truth is, yeah. So and then you've got like good reliable monsters, Lumina, Lila, Raiden,
and now we have the Twilight Sworns, Lumina, Lila. Well, no Raiden. But
yeah, not yet. He would have looked cool as a Twilight Sworn.
Yeah, so now the deck isn't done yet. You can still have some pretty good time with it even now.
Yeah, it's still actually kind of viable competitive. So
we have cards like That Grass is Greener, Soul Charge.
Yeah, lots of things you can add to make it quite good. My next one is Blue Eyes, a deck that I've played this kind of almost religiously. It's one of my favorite monsters. It's a simple deck because it pretty much involves spamming big 3K beat sticks over and over and over again.
And some of them have effects.
Yeah, it's got lots of draw power because you have trade in, you have cards of consonants. You can of course add in, any other draw cards, Upstart, Pot of Desires, things like that. And then you just summon them back from the grave with things like Return of the Dragon Lord, Silver's Cry.
Which in a way is the only good card in the whole deck.
Yeah. And and that's basically it. Blue Eyes is a really big monster. It's really difficult to deal with increasing amounts of them getting summoned every turn. So and the deck used to be kind of expensive, but now since a lot of cards have gotten reprinted, it's not hard to get a hold of.
Thank you, Megatons.
Yes, so there's that. What about you?
My last deck is Ancient Gears, and you might be a bit surprised by that, but you shouldn't be, because Ancient Gears are actually really simple. Like, very straightforward strategies, really. When played, some people say correct, but the most efficient way to play them is to kind of try and get 8,000 points on board really fast, sometimes by summoning a Chaos guy.
Chaos guy, yeah, him.
And, Wyvern searches. You can search, and if you want to do the whole Chaos Max play, you can search box and box search a thing.
Yeah, but you can also play Ancient Gears in a just kind of more standard, slower, control-paced way. I think that's how you prefer it.
That's my personal style. Is a slower style. You just take your turns, go turn by turn. You try and get some advantage going, which is pretty difficult with the deck. But it's all really simple.
Support makes it actually pretty easy, I would say.
Yeah, with Catapult.
Yeah, Catapult, Gear Town, Wyvern searching it. And they all have that really convenient
Fortress.
effect of when they attack, your opponent isn't able to use spells and traps, and that means that you don't have to worry about the mirror forces. You don't have to worry about
It was better more back in the day.
Attack defense.
You might not get too many amazing moments out of that, but you do have access to that new level 9. So
yeah. So it's really not a bad deck. I think that, like Dinosaurs, it's very easy. You just pick up 3 structure decks and you're done.
Yeah.
So.
And we're getting new ancient gears. If you haven't heard yet, we're getting that new ancient gear. What is it? Gear Golem Megaton, or is it Ancient Gear Megaton Golem? Something like that.
And there's like Ancient Gear Fusion. And stuff.
And we're getting Ancient Gear Fusion. So
if you like decks that don't die, then
that's right. I want to consider it legacy support now.
Sure, why not?
All right, it got the Alex seal of approval for legacy support.
So that concludes the 10 decks we would recommend for beginners 2017.
And we're not saying if you're a beginner you have to play these decks. We're just saying that you'll probably have a good time if you pick one of these.
Yeah, there's so many that we didn't mention. It's almost as if the best idea would be to leave a comment sharing other decks you would recommend to beginners.
Exactly, like for instance, Infernity's great beginner deck.
Yeah, very accessible. Yeah, but there are a lot of different decks, so let us know in the comments any other decks you would recommend for a new player and why. And typical end of video announcements. We are going to be giving away a box of
Circuit Break.
Yes, very soon. Later this week I'm going to have details on that, so make sure that you subscribe so that you'll hear about those when it comes out.
Hit the notification bell so the second it's out, you hear about it.
Yeah, that lets you join the notification people. So, yeah, no, you can,
Now I'm not gonna do that to y'all.
yeah, and also we're gonna be at YS Dallas October 21st. Make sure you meet us there. We'll all be there signing stuff, trading, dueling,
That's
pictures.
Me, and me. All 6 of me.
Yeah, and I'll just be there as like the chauffeur. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
See you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.